coach and Scrum Master, and today I would like to talk to you about why it is important to do one thing at a time. And I will give you 6 reasons for it. So, some of you may already know that I'm a professional baker. I specialize in wedding cakes, and in order to bake my wedding cakes, I have this little routine, my system that I created. So, on the first day, I bake 2 layers of cake. On the second day, I build the cake with the 2 layers. And on the third day, I am ready to decorate the wedding cake. In this case, it's a vanilla cake. Voila, 1 wedding cake ready. Okay, next cake. I bake 2 layers. On the next day, I build them. And on the third day, I am ready to decorate the cake. And this one is a raspberry icing wedding cake. Next cake. I bake 2 layers. I build the cake. And on the third day, I decorate the cake. This one is it's a blue cake. I'm a very fancy baker. I do blue cakes. It's a spirulina blue, so a natural blue. Okay, so I have baked and delivered 3 wedding cakes. Let's have a look. The first cake got delivered on day 3, the next cake, the raspberry, on day 6, and then the blue one on day 9. Okay, I finished my first routine. I'm ready to start again. So again, I am baking 2 layers of cake, and while I'm almost done baking those 2 layers, actually my next pink lady is on the call, and she says, "Oh, Diana, I know that you're really busy, etc., etc., but I feel so nervous about my wedding coming up, and I would feel so much more at ease if you could just tell me that you are already working on my cake too." Of course, I don't want her to be unhappy or feel nervous, so I say, "Sure, pink lady, no problem. I will start your cake, I promise." So what I do is I bake the 2 layers already for the raspberry cake. Now, obviously what happens is the second that she hangs up the phone, she calls her blue friend and tells her, "You know what, Diana started my cake already, even though it was not planned yet." So the blue lady gets the hint, and she calls me too, and she says, "Oh, Diana, I heard that you were working on the pink cake already. Can you please do that for me too? I would feel so much more at ease if I knew that you have already started my project, my cake too." Obviously, I love all my customers. I want them all to be happy. I don't want them to feel anxious or anything. So yes, no problem. I will start baking your cake too. Voila. I have now started all 3 cakes, and I can tell all my clients, "Don't worry, I am working on your project." Sounds familiar? Okay, so next step. I am building the vanilla. I'm mixing it up already. Then I am building the pink, and then I'm building the spirulina one. And once that is done, I am ready to start decorate them. So vanilla over here, raspberry over here, and blue over here. Okay, let's have a look at what I have done. So the raspberry lady is the one that called me first. She asked me, "Can you please start on my cake sooner?" Which I did. I started for her now on day 2. Whether before I started hers on day 4. But she did not get her cake any sooner, because before she had it at day 6, and now actually it is day 8 that she gets her cake. The blue one, the blue lady, she called me as well. I started her cake at day 3 in the new way, and before I only started her cake at day 7, but she still gets her cake last, so it's still day 9. And then the poor vanilla client, they are really worse off in this way, because before, even though I started their cakes on the same day, on day 1, they had it at day 3, and now they only get it at day 7. So this is already a first thing that should show you it is not because you start something sooner that you also deliver it sooner. On the contrary, in many cases, you will deliver later, even though you started sooner, just because you're doing multiple things at the same time. Now, when I drew this scenario, the second one, I did not even take into consideration that there is something that is called context switching. So I'm pretending here that context switching has no impact at all on my baking skills, which in reality it will not. Because every time that we switch context to something new, our brain, our mind needs a little bit of time for us to adjust to the new situation, which is totally normal. So let's take that into consideration as well and draw a little bit more realistic scenario where I am realistic, so a bit more over there, where I am baking the cakes first, but I have to pay attention while I'm baking it. When I'm doing the second one, the first one was a vanilla, but then the second one is a chocolate, so I have to regroup myself a little bit and find the new ingredients for it, etc., etc. Then the third one, the spirulina, the fancy blue one, is also a chocolate, but a chocolate gluten-free. So again, I need to be careful. I need to keep my attention to it in order not to do the wrong thing. Okay, so I bake my cakes, then I can start building them. And now when I'm building them, I have these several pieces of cake lying around. It's not just 2 for 1 anymore. I have 6 already so I have to make sure that I'm putting the right cake together. So a little bit of extra time for each of them. I have to be careful that I'm not mixing the chocolate ones. Imagine that I'm bringing the wrong cake to the wrong wedding. And only then I am ready for decoration. Again, being very careful that I'm not doing the wrong one in the wrong color. This is the normal chocolate, and this would be the gluten-free spirulina chocolate. There you go. Okay, so this is probably a more realistic scenario. I'm not even exaggerating here, because it's really several things at the same time. Imagine you're doing, as reality is, complex projects. It's not just 3 cakes that you're trying not to mix up, but there is much more that comes to it. Adding a little bit of extra time for each step is really normal. So let's have a look. We're then here, the delivery of this beautiful vanilla cake is now at day 8.5. The raspberry cake is at day 10, and the blue one is at day 11.5, let's say. Okay, voila. So you're not delivering faster because you're starting sooner. That is the main message that this tries to bring across. Okay, but so that would be one reason. Let's have a look at the second reason. The second reason is related to release planning. If you go for the first scenario, and let's say at day 6, you have already finished 2 projects at day 6. And the first one took about 3 days, and the second one took about 3 days. So when you get your next client on the phone and they ask for a wedding cake, then it is fairly fair to say that I think a cake will take about 3 days. And as I have already 1 order outstanding coming up, your day can be started on day 10 and will probably be ready on day 12, which is a very fair and honest way of communicating with your customer. If you think about it in this way of working, let's have a look at day 6. I have not even started decorating my first cake. So I'm actually rather clueless yet as to how many days it would take for me to finish 1 cake. So it's kind of a guessing game for me to be able to tell them when the cake would be ready. And also, if this is how I work and the next client comes in, I would just probably start working on their cake over here and push out the delivery dates of all of them just further away. So, release planning is much easier when you work like this than when you work like this, okay? That would be reason number 2. Related to it a little bit, as I said here, this is a very clear way of communicating with your customers. This gets much more tricky. What will happen is probably that the customer will start chasing you, they will call you, they will get nervous, they will get angry. Where's my cake? Why can't you tell me when my cake will be arriving? in this example, obviously, you have a strict deadline because the wedding is a wedding, so it has to be ready at the wedding day. But for you, it will probably end up in doing overtime, maybe night shifts, just to ensure that the cake actually gets delivered on the right day. So it causes much more stress for the person who is doing the work than when the person can work in this way where you just finish one before you start another. And every time here, when you're delivering a cake, you see the people who are happy about getting their cake. It's your reward as well. So you feel accomplished, you feel that you have contributed, while over here, you're kind of building up stress and trying not to lose track of all the cakes that you have lying around, okay? So that would be reason number 3. For the person who is doing the work, this is much easier than this, okay? Reason number 4 is related to bugs. What if there is something wrong with my cake baking system? If I do it the wrong way, let's say I assemble my cakes upside down. So I have the small layer on the bottom and a big layer on top. When I arrive at my first wedding, I am pretty sure that they will tell me immediately that there is something wrong with my cake design. So, okay, this client is not happy, but at least I have the chance to fix the problem for my next cake that I am doing. I know now, oh, they want a big layer on the bottom and a small layer on top, okay? If I go to this client with my cake upside down, yes, they will not be happy either, but the same mistake that has been incorporated in the vanilla cake is probably also already in the raspberry cake, in the spirulina cake. So it's much more expensive because there has been time, material invested, and it takes much longer to fix the problem that was in my cake compared to when I work like this, okay? Related to it, not exactly the same, but looking at it from another angle is the next reason that I want to share with you. Imagine my cakes that I deliver taste and look perfectly, but every time that I am delivering a cake, I notice they're kind of a little bit slippery. When I arrive with the cake and I put them on the wedding, I have to make sure that the top layer does not fall off. So I wonder and I ask myself, how am I building my cakes? What is it that I'm doing? I'm using a sugary paste to put the top layer on the bottom layer. And I notice it's not really that stable. Maybe I can try to put pins in it and put the top layer on pins. Maybe that would make it more stable. So I tried that for the next cake. And indeed, it works. Okay. So as of now, I will try this new way. So for all the cakes that I'm doing, I make it easier for myself. I'm improving my own process. Maybe by the cake number 9, I'm thinking, for the icing, I could invest in a turning table so that I don't have to walk around my cake all the time. I can just turn the cake. Would that not be easier? So again, I have more time because I have more opportunity to improve the quality of my own design of what it is that I am doing, each delivery that I am doing. While over here, I'm probably so nervous and so stressed about all the things that is going on that I don't even take time to inspect and adapt. So, faster quality improvements are possible if you work one thing at a time, okay? Next one that I want to point out, which is also kind of related to it, the last one already, is return of investment. The customer probably only pays when they get their cake. So here they pay, here they pay, here they pay. And when I work like this, I only get paid for the first time here. And then I hopefully the second time here if I did not mess up, because maybe there is a dispute over the bill because I'm building my cakes upside down, etc., etc. But I don't know about your company, how much cash it has flowing around. But I'm pretty sure that any finance department would prefer to get paid sooner rather than later. So your return of investment in working like this is much, much faster than if you work like this and you're just pushing out the delivery dates to the back. Okay, voila, that is basically it. I hope it made some sense, and if you would still have any questions about it, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. Thank you. Bye.